So is the central bank destined to make a move sooner rather than later? And will that be the green light for an even bigger market rally through the end of the year? This almost goes back to our game when you get the data.
Oh, yeah, I like this game. If I had told you...
Is bad news good news, or is bad news bad news?
Finish the game. I mean, we have a lot of games.
I thought it was
we have so many.
Early in the week.
There's not a lot of tomfoolery here. But in terms of the bad jobs report on Friday, bad news is bad news. And today, maybe bad news is good news.
The bad news on Friday, I think, and if you had played the other game, if you had told me Friday what was going to happen, that's another good game. The bad news on Friday, to me, came in the form of a Fed governor stepping down and the BLS firing, which I thought was market moving, and I think it spoke volumes as to what's going on. But clearly, I think what the market came to the realization was it's more about what the Fed might potentially do with a softening job market. Now, softening job market suggests the economy, again, is probably get a lot weaker before things start to pick up again. And I don't think a 6,300 or so S&P has any of that priced in.
By the way, we talked about the bad news bears a couple times last week, too. I mean, I think we named more people on the bad news bears than have ever been named on financial TV and ever again. So let's get back to the market. I do think you had a case here where the bad news being good news is where we were this morning. We also had a chance to assess an earnings season that's been extraordinary. I mean, you've beaten 9% or so in terms of where earnings are, and you've beaten around 7.5% on the top line, about 4% on the bottom line. There are dynamics in every sector that I think imply margins are doing okay, even in a world where higher tariffs, especially margins that are getting help from AI and related technology, innovation, et cetera. So I just think we got very negative on Friday, and that's appropriate given what we heard from that job number. I would say again, however, if we get another bad print, I don't care what the Fed is going to do. We don't want, and I don't think the job market's going to essentially fall apart before our very eyes, but that's what it felt like on Friday. Suddenly, it was a job market that the 3-month average at 35,000 jobs was the worst 3-month average we'd seen since before COVID, and we didn't know that. So I would get back to, we still have an August payroll number that will be before that next Fed meeting, and I think that's very important. And I don't expect that those numbers are going to be that good, but I'll leave that poor, but I'll leave that to the economists.
But the Fed put is larger and firmer than ever before with the opening on the board, right? With Trump's ability to put somebody of his thought process in terms of rates.
Right. Well, that's one more vote, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Although, back to your question, I think inflation is bad news. I think labor could be good news either way. If it's weak, because then you'll see the Fed come in. And if it's not weak, well, then, okay, everything's fine. I think both of those could be good news. Inflation, I think, really ties their hands.
You think inflation is worse than weak jobs?
I think weak jobs moves the Fed. Inflation keeps the Fed pat.
And that's what he said.
But what would you rather see for the market?
Would I rather? Oh, we're going to no, go ahead.
It's a derivative.
Games and people taking over the show, and there's all kinds of stuff
taking over the show, by the way. Would you rather?
Would I rather? I guess I'm a little. I guess I'd rather see weak jobs because I think there's an explanation, right? You and I talked about this a little bit before the show. I would think we might see a big JOLTS number, which would say there's not enough people to fill the payrolls, and that's why the payrolls were light.
So Powell said that we are further away from the inflation mandate last week. So jobs have to get considerably worse for him to do anything there. Last week we had an outside reversal day, and then close to one on Thursday. I think it's not over yet. We have August through October is the weakest seasonal adjusted months for the S&P. I don't think we're going to see an end to the sell-off. Probably in the next couple of weeks, I think you can have another revisit of a sell-off again. I wouldn't be buying. I'm always buying a dip.
Right.
I wouldn't be thinking about this is over and the coast is clear at this point. I think that you're going to see some weakness. We had stellar reports out of mega cap tech last week, and it was not enough to guard us from the sell-off we saw last week.